What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Jolly by Nature, and we are back doing our post-commentary of our Chapter 2 PvP battles. This is part of the Blastburn Radio Nuzlocke World Tour. Chapter 2 was really exciting. It was our first doubles battle chapter in the entire series. It was also notably the biggest gameplay chunk of the entire game, with a ton of new encounters. No one's team looked even close to how it looked last week, and that's really dope and exciting and good. So without further ado, let's just kind of go ahead and jump into the matches. If you want more information on what we brought and why we brought it, you can check out this week's team builder, of course, which should be actually just one video back in the same playlist. So I hope you guys are ready, and let's dive in. Now, our first opponent of this week is Celeste, and Celeste actually surprised us in one really key way with this team. We expected most of these things. We expected the Skarmory, we expected the Amora, we expected the Snorlax, definitely expected the Breloom, and more than half expected the Charmeleon, but there's no Pikachu. No Pikachu in sight. Instead, we see the Floette song, which I think was probably a pretty huge misplay by Celeste, although clearly she didn't see it that way at the time, and hopefully we'll be able to exploit that. So let's see how it goes. So as this match kicks off, I have a plan coming in, a pretty strong plan, so we don't really even hesitate with selecting our lead. We just go Peanut, the Meowstic, and Johnny the Pinsir up front all day long in doubles. Again, Peanut is the only thing on either side of the field with Fake Out, which means that we can pretty handily exploit that early in this matchup for great benefit, at least potentially, and hopefully. That is definitely the goal and the plan. And clearly, Celeste is taking much more of her time in selecting her team. There we go. Now we're moving. God, these animations are so fucking sick. We've been using Pokemon Showdown for the entire duration of the show, and I'm really grateful to Showdown for existing, frankly, and facilitating the things that we do and facilitating competitive in general. But God, cartridge battle animations are so fresh. Okay, and so Celeste leads really defensively here with her Skarmory and her Snorlax, and I'm actually going to make a pretty big misplay on this turn one. It doesn't wind up costing us, at least not immediately, but as you can see here, I am going for a Fake Out into the Skarmory, which 100% is the play here, but I Swords Dance on Johnny the Pinsir, and I should not have done that. This is here, in fact, I'm going to quickly pause, because something that's important to note is this was our plan. Our plan from the front was to Fake Out and Swords Dance on turn one. I wasn't expecting this particular lead out of Celeste, and any of my thoughts of what she might lead, I was not expecting Snorlax Skarmory. And against this lead, I would have been much better off just close combating into the Snorlax on turn one, which had a very real chance of just one-shotting, just KOing it, getting it out of the way, no boost necessary, and even if it didn't, really importantly, I would know that's not a KO at that point, which is very key information to have. And then B, I could then swap Johnny the Pinsir back out and save him for later in the match. Whereas as these turns play out, we Fake Out into the Skarmory, we Swords Dance up. We're going to see a Yawn come out of Yummy and the Snorlax into our Meowstic, which I really don't understand the logic of that play, if I'm being 100, but that's what Celeste chose to go for. But now we have a +2 Pinsir on the field, and that's pretty huge. We're going to go ahead and swap Peanut the Meowstic out. It's been yawned, and going into Sashimi the Gyarados is just a really safe play at this point. Get an Intimidate off. Nothing on the field really threatens it to begin with. So we get the Gyarados out, we get the Intimidate off, and of course we selected Close Combat into that Snorlax, which at +2 is absolutely going to yeet it into the stratosphere. That thing is beyond done. And oh, look at that Close Combat animation. It's glorious. It's beautiful. So Yummy goes down. Unfortunately, Johnny the Pinsir is also going to go down. I'm not sure on the calcs on this. I definitely think that the -1 defense from close combat matters in this being a KO, and that Rocky Helmet might matter as well. Skarmory is not a super offensive boy, even with a really great offensive, super effective move like Brave Bird. So I am curious as to how much those factors mattered in that one shot, but it does one shot. So we basically trade Pinsir and Snorlax 1-for-1, which is not a bad trade. I am not upset at that turn of events, but I legitimately could have played it better, and it's important to recognize things that you can do better, even when the game ultimately favors you. Like, that's really, really important. It's never good to lock into a plan so hard that you stop using common sense on what's in front of your face. So we bring Peanut the Meowstic back out as Shiitake the Breloom comes out, and we've got a really easy play here to just double into the Breloom with Fake Out and Return. This would have been a great Protect turn from Celeste, but I'm guessing she's not running Protect on the Breloom, which makes this a pretty easy opportunity to just hit it real hard. Oh, it doubles out. I'd actually completely forgotten that it even doubles out. But nothing really wants to take that return from that Gyarados, even Glimmer the Amora, who resists it. But that was a very good swap by Celeste. That was a heavy bait there. So good for her. We do see Stealth Rocks come out from Starscream the Skarmory, which again, not a terrible play. I've got a lot of things on my team that are rock weak. Like it's solid. It'll get chip damage off. Not nearly as potent in doubles play as it is in singles, which I think matters here. We're going to go for a Dragon Rage onto that Skarmory, which I think is huge, frankly. At the same time, we go for a Psyshock on the Amora, which will hopefully be enough to finish it off. I don't actually remember if we polish it off here or not. Okay, so Peanut is the fastest thing on the field currently. We go for our Psyshock, and yep, that is enough to take out the Amora, which is great. Amora is hugely offensively threatening with Refrigerate, and we were able to neutralize it really before it got going. And then that Dragon Rage. Real talk, that Dragon Rage is 90% of why Sashimi is on the team right now. It's just such an incredibly important offensive tool when you have walls like Starscream the Skarmory around. And then between Rocky Helmet and Brave Bird recoil, Starscream goes way down into the red. This is by far the best job we've done of hurting that thing thus far in the series. And Sashimi ate that Brave Bird reasonably well. Like, it took some damage for sure, but we did all right. And Shiitake the Breloom is coming out again for Celeste. And ultimately, at this point, it's a guessing game for me on what Shiitake is going to go into. We brought Granola the Crobat pretty much as an anti-Shiitake measure. We had to have something to switch into it, and Crobat notably quad resists both stabs of Breloom, which is very important. We decide to bet that it's going to attack into the Gyarados into Sashimi, so we swap into Crobat. And then we also see Starscream the Skarmory swap out as well for Celeste, which honestly is probably, I think, a mistake there, because I can't focus on the Skarmory with that Breloom on the field, and she could have taken the opportunity to get some more leftovers recovery, but such is life. We did call our shot correctly. Shiitake the Breloom is going into Granola the Crobat now. It would have been into Sashimi the Gyarados, and that Bullet Seed, even quad resisted, just does so much damage. Shiitake is such an offensive threat. We do land a Psyshock into it, however, and that is enough to bring it down. Not a super bulky boy, certainly. So we've now neutralized what has got to be the most potent offensive threat on Celeste's team. And right now, things are looking real good for your boy. Like, I'm feeling really good about this, that I've got the Breloom and the Snorlax down, and all it's cost me so far is Pinsir. Song the Floette comes out. And at this point, I'm in danger, because Song has Wish. And what I know more than anything else in the whole world is I cannot let Song pass a Wish freely into that Skarmory slot, and what I have on the field right now in this moment does not threaten Skarmory. But I've got one turn at least. It's got to get the Wish up before it can pass it. I decided to go ahead and throw a Confuse Ray onto Benson the Charmeleon, which proves to be really, really important as these turns go on. We also throw a Psyshock into Song, which is a very specially defensive mon, so that Psyshock hitting physically is very important here. Benson smacks itself in confusion, and Song uses Wish. So at this point, I'm mildly panicking. I have to get something on the field that can deal even a little bit with the Skarmory. Although I think at this point my thought process is it's so low. If it's switching in this turn, I've just got to deal damage into that slot so it can't switch in for free. However, Celeste chooses to protect on Song and just take the healing for itself, which is not a bad play, and certainly leaves me offensively neutered. I get no hits off this turn, although Benson the Charmeleon smacks itself in confusion once again. But at this point, I have to swap. I have to swap. There's not a wish in the air, which means I've got a swap turn before that Skarmory can possibly come back out. So we go into Sashimi the Gyarados as we Psyshock into Song once more. So Sashimi comes out, we get another Intimidate off. I'm not sure at this point in the match if that's even a physical or a special Charmeleon. I anticipate physical because Celeste chose X version, which means it's going to eventually be a Mega Charizard X, which is definitely a physical attacking Mon, so I would expect her to build it physical. But the Intimidate's certainly not going to hurt, even if it doesn't actively help. And Benson hits itself in confusion yet again. That Confuse Ray from Granola doing so much work in this match. Celeste getting more than a little shitty. And at this point, I have to make what appears on paper to be the questionable decision to Dragon Rage directly into Song the Floette, because I cannot let Skarmory come in and take that wish for free. I cannot let that happen. I don't know that I can break it again if I let it get the healing off. We do Psyshock into Benson and knock it down to its berry. Song stays in and so eats that Dragon Rage just fine. And Benson smacks itself in confusion yet again. And yeah, Song eats its own wish. Celeste went for wish again. I'm guessing she didn't realize how wish worked and was hoping to put one in the air to switch Skarmory into this turn. But yeah, you absolutely cannot do that. And at this point, I decided to just go ahead and Dragon Rage into Benson. I'm like, this thing needs to go. I'm getting a little concerned about what it's going to do. We get the Psyshock off, this time into Song. And we Dragon Rage into Benson, and Benson lives. I think that was actually a misplay. I think I probably should have returned. I think against Charmeleon, return probably would have done more damage. But finally, Benson fights through its own confusion, uses a Dragon Rage of its own, and goes into Sashimi. So Sashimi is down. So I've got to get something in here that can keep that Skarmory from freely switching in and accepting that wish. So we go into Optimus, the Pawniard. At this point, Benson is a non-factor because we know that Peanut is faster and Peanut can polish it off. And actually, that means that this turn, Celeste has to switch in the Skarmory if she ever wants to heal it, because next turn, she's down to 2 Pokemon. So she's definitely going to make that switch this turn. She withdraws Song. She goes into Starscream her Skarmory. We get a Psyshock off into Benson to remove the Charmeleon from the match. And then we get a Feint Attack off into Starscream, which is enough to finish it off. So we are able to successfully prevent that Skarmory from healing up. And at this point, it's just a matter of semantics. We just have to polish off this poor lonely Floette. Again, I think bringing the Floette in this matchup was probably a mistake. It's just a little bit too passive, particularly in doubles. In singles, wish passing is a much more viable strategy. But, you know. Optimus, I believe, is choice banded here, so we're going to swap back out so we're not Feint Attacking into Song the Floette. Like, at this point, Celeste can be, like, really, really irritating, frankly, and just sit here and wish into herself, but, like, she's literally just stalling for time. We go into Granola, we Psyshock into Song. We activate its berry. It's going to pop a citrus there, I believe. Yep, no, berry juice. We do see a fairy win. So, yeah, Celeste also recognizes the writing on the wall and is going to let this thing go down. And we launch a return into it, followed by our last PP of Psyshock. And that is sufficient. The Floette Song is going to go down and secure us our first PvP showdown victory of the series. Good game as always to Celeste. Again, I think maybe her doubles instincts aren't quite as finely honed as they could be. I've certainly played a lot more VGC than she has, and I definitely think that our doubles experience led us to victory in that matchup. So yeah, of course, that is not our only match of the week, and let's go ahead and jump into our match against Anna. Okay, and we are back with our match against our good friend Anna, and this one, I'm not as surprised by the team that Anna brought for this matchup. She brings her Amora, her Diggersby, her Roserade, her Chatot, and her Aerodactyl, all Pokemon I expected to see here. Does bring the Hippopotas over the Braixen, which I was a little surprised to see, but honestly, you know, given now knowledge of what we actually bring in this match, definitely I think the better option overall. So I think this is probably the best team that Anna could have possibly brought to face me in this matchup. Ultimately, my immediate concern is a Chatot lead. It was the thing that we were the most worried about in the team builder is, you know, worst case scenario here, if that Chatot is like modest choice specs boom burst, for instance, what do I do if she just leads Chatot and starts clicking boom burst, like in doubles hitting both sides of the field? How do I even begin to combat that? And so that is kind of what we led to counter with Waffles, the Tyrant, and of course Peanut, our Meowstic. So hopefully that's going to work out for us. Also, Anna here in this match with a very, very cute outfit. So good job, Anna, with that trainer customization. So we do see the Aerodactyl Chatot lead, which is definitely what we were afraid of. In a different circumstance, I would be very concerned that we're going to see like Tailwind Boomburst here, and then like at that point it's just going to snowball. However, we've got our boy young Peanut, the Meowstic, who has Fake Out, and at this point Anna knows. We've already done our match against Celeste. Anna has seen the power of Fake Out on the field, so she has to be anticipating it. The question is, which side of the field is she going to anticipate that Fake Out going into, and how is she going to respond here? Regardless, just Peanut's presence on this field is immediately disruptive, and that's something that I am personally incredibly grateful for, because without that disruption, we would be in a whole heap of trouble right here. So we do see J Balvin, the Chatot, switch out immediately in favor of London, the Hippopotas. So a good play on Anna's part, protecting that Chatot in a situation that's not favorable to it to try to preserve it to sweep later. We also see a Protect coming out of the Aerodactyl. So altogether, not the worst possible play from myself either. I'm getting some damage off, although I'm taking Rocky Helmet on Peanut. Get some damage off. Our opponent gets no offensive momentum whatsoever. So a pretty good turn, all things told. We've disrupted their strategy, and the momentum is on my side of the field. But now the question becomes, where do we go from here? Obviously, Waffles is threatened by London, the Hippopotas. Carmelite, the Aerodactyl, is threatened by Waffles. But it comes down to, like, what threats is Anna going to prioritize? And my thought process was, she's just seen me disrupt everything Celeste has to offer with Fake Out from Meowstic. She's going to try to target my Meowstic down. Maybe she's even going to hope that London being on the field is sufficient to scare out Waffles. So I decided to protect Peanut the Meowstic and to Rock Tomb into Carmelite. Waffles, if you'll remember, is holding the choice band in this matchup. So if we can land one, like, that might be literally all it takes. Aerodactyl's a lot of things. Sturdy is not typically one of them. So we're hoping that she's going to go hard into Peanut, and that Waffles can take care of one of the biggest threats on her entire team. We'll have to kind of see what she prioritizes here. We do see the Protect go off from Peanut. We do see a return from Carmelite into Peanut, so we called that perfectly. We land the Rock Tomb, and Carmelite goes down. So a stellar job removing, like, one of the biggest problems on Anna's entire team. We also see a Rock Tomb from London going into Peanut. So doubles in to my Meowstic. We are able to rob all momentum from Anna's side of the field and remove just a colossal threat in Carmelite, her Aerodactyl. So a great set of turns, all things told. And you can see here that we're waiting. Anna is kind of struggling with what to bring in front of these two monsters here. And it's not surprising that she's targeting Peanut so heavily either, because, I mean, even just in addition to the Fake Out, which has been such a disruptive force this week in PvP, Peanut has Psyshock as a fully evolved Pokemon with Psyshock, which is really, really potent stab against a team that has no resistance for it. So all things told, it's just a really good mon. And this turn, I decided to preserve it. We see Hugo the Diggersby come out. Obviously not ideal for a Tyrunt locked into Rock Tomb. We take Peanut back out in favor of Sashimi the Gyarados, which is a pretty free play at this point. Bring him in, get the Intimidate off against these two physical mon. We also bring Waffles out in favor of Taquito, bringing our Grass type, which is going to be a really strong defensive pivot against these two ground types. So we do get the Intimidate off against both of our opponents, which is very good. They're both physical attackers. We also get Taquito in here, who's very fat. Taquito swaps into a double kick, which in hindsight, I kind of wish that I had reversed the order of that swap so that double kick went into Rocky Helmet Gyarados. We also see a Yawn go into Taquito, which is fine. Frankly, Taquito, again, was really a defensive switch in here, which means he can just switch right back out. That's totally cool. And we are going to go for, I believe, a Dragon Rage. Yep, a Dragon Rage with Sashimi into London, I believe. Yep, into London. And we're going to bring Taquito right back out, I think in this time in favor of... Oh, God, who do we bring in here? We bring in Optimus, which is actually a really ballsy play, especially considering we just saw the double kick from Hugo the Diggersby. We're just kind of relying on the fact that she's not going to do that again into Aquilidin. And in fact, Diggersby doesn't stay in at all, goes back out in favor of Rose the Roserade, as Taquito comes back out in favor of Optimus the Pawniard. We do see London the Hippopotas protect, which is a really good protect for Anna. It robs me of the offensive momentum of the turn, but I still feel like overall we're doing pretty well here. We see the Sandstorm damage go off, which Optimus is gratefully immune to. Now, at this point, London's not going to be able to protect this turn. I mean, could go for a double, I suppose, but you know how that goes. It's usually pretty safe to target into a mon the turn after it uses Protect. So I believe we're going to Dragon Rage into him again. Yep, Dragon Rage into London one more time. And we're going to set Stealth Rocks here. This is really important because the fact that Anna was smart and saved her Chatot for the end game means that I have to worry about it coming back out and clicking Boom Burst when I'm not as prepared to face it. And so setting Stealth Rocks here, even though I had mentioned when Celeste did the same thing that it's not an ideal play in doubles, helps to whittle down that Chatot, in particular so that it's within range of Optimus' Sucker Punch in the late game, which is like kind of the end game that we're playing towards here. We do see Anna on this turn double up into Sashimi the Gyarados with both a Stun Spore from Rose and a Rock Tomb from London. We also see the Sand wear off. London getting fairly low. And I do pull kind of a no-brain play here. I do click Dragon Rage into London once again as I switch into Taquito, knowing that Anna's already shown Protect and shown a strong willingness to use it, and I'm almost positive that London is going to protect this turn. I wind up attacking into that Hippo's Protect so many times in this match, and sure enough, that is what happens. It protected. So in hindsight, I really should have attacked into Rose the Roselia, and Rose gets off a Giga Drain that does a stupid amount of damage. So surprising. I didn't think about this at the time. In hindsight, I wonder if J Balvin and Chatot did not have choice specs, and if that choice specs is not currently on Rose, and that's why that Giga Drain hits so hard, because it hits like unbelievably hard here. That would explain a lot, I think, actually. This is like the third time I've watched this match, and this is the first time I've actually had that thought. You know how you do sometimes. All right, so we see London the Hippopotas coming back out in favor of J Balvin, that Chatot. So doing good work with the Sneaky Pebbles. We see another Giga Drain from Rose, and that's going to be enough to finish off Sashimi. I targeted, I think, a Dragon Rage into the Roselia, but really, like, that was just sacrificing Sashimi at that point. We knew he wasn't going to get it off before he went down. And we're going to go back out into Peanut here. Again, We don't have the choice band on Optimus, so our play here with J-Balv and the Chatot on the field is just to whittle it down enough that we can reasonably count on Sucker Punch to finish it off. So we're going to fake out and switch into Optimus. And Anna, as you can tell, is thinking very, very hard about her plays here. In hindsight now, being pretty sure that that Chatot is not choice locked, it could be a nasty plot set, and she could be looking for a setup opportunity, although we're not going to give it to her. We do see the Roselia come back out in favor of London, the Hippopotas, who does take Stealth Rocks damage coming in. Not a ton, it is a ground type, but, you know, every little bit helps against that fat Hippo boy. We're also going to immediately bring Taquito back, again, in favor of Optimus. And we're going to fake out off on the Chatot. So again, a little bit of additional chip damage and making sure that we have the opportunity to bring Optimus in here. And at this point, like, we're at like sub 40% on this Chatot. I'm pretty confident of our chances in just sucker punching, but we're also going to go ahead and set light screen this turn so that if I'm wrong, and worst case happens, again, during the match, I had not made the connection that this Chatot is definitely not choice locked, and so I was always playing for worst case scenario choice specs boom burst, which is not what we experience here. Obviously, we're pretty positive that that specs is on the Roselia in hindsight. We do see London the Hippopotas protecting once more, again just stalling turns, which again every time I attack into it and it does that, that's a good thing, but this time I didn't. Like, honestly, protecting there is probably a waste. Your Hippopotas was never the threat on the field that turn. I was not going to target into it, but you know, Anna's hit on a lot of those protects. I'm certainly not going to over criticize her for the one where she kind of missed a little bit. We do get the light screen up, which I don't think super matters at this point in the match, but we're glad to have it. We're even more glad that it wasn't necessary, I think, if we're being 100. We're going to see Hugo the Diggersby come out, and again, I can't really keep Optimus out in front of this thing. It's already shown the double kick. It's frankly terrifying. We're going to Psyshock into London, finish off this fat Hippo boy, and go hard out into Taquito. Right? No? Yeah, we're going to go hard out into Taquito, right? Yeah, okay. Yep. You just had to think about it. It's fine. So we do get the Psyshock off, and again, Meowstic not the most offensive Pokemon, like, overall in the grand scheme of things. Plenty offensive for Chapter 2 as a fully evolved Pokemon with Psyshock. Like, very strong here. We do eat a return from Hugo. Speaking of plenty strong for Chapter 2, knocks us down low into the red, but we eat an Oranberry. Gives us a little bit of additional health. And more importantly, Meowstic is faster. So we do know that we're going to get at least one more attack off with Peanut before Peanut finally gives up the ghost here. Which is good, which is very good. And we see Princess the Amora come out. And this is... At this point, I'm feeling pretty good about the remainder of the match. Like, the Roselia is the big threat left on the field, which is kind of a wild thing to say. Princess can be a problem. Like, make no mistake, Princess the Amora can be a legitimate problem here. But also, it is quad weak to both fighting and steel, and I still have an Optimus and a Johnny to work with, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. We're going to double up into Hugo the Diggersby this turn. We land a Psyshock, dealing a pretty decent chunk of damage. We're going to eat another return, and Peanut's going to go down. And then the next fastest thing on the field is Amora. Good to know that the Amora is faster than Arquillidan. Lands a single target Icy Wind, which does a huge amount of damage to Taquito. Like absolutely unspeakable. But thank God for that light screen. Like, I'm pretty sure without it, Taquito would have been toast here. But we do live, eat the berry, and land the Vine Whip, which is not quite enough to polish off Hugo, but it is super close. And ironically here, Hugo's pickup triggers picking up his berry and eating another one, another Oran berry. So getting 20 total recovery, which is wild. We go into Optimus, our Poniard here. And I think no surprise to literally anyone. We are, well, actually, no, that's not, this is a surprise to me. I was sure we were going to Metal Claw into Princess, but no, we actually Sucker Punch into Hugo the Diggersby. Go figure. Oh, yeah, right, duh, double kick. Yeah, that was the objectively correct play, yes. And it's funny, right? Because at this point, like, I'm definitely winning, but on paper, I'm only winning 4-3. Like, it's not a huge margin of victory right now, so I've definitely got to maintain my vigilance. We do see Princess the Amora come back in favor of Rose the Roselia, and we also see Hugo the Diggersby protect. Which makes the Sucker Punch fail. Well, not that it would go through protect anyway. It also makes the Leech Seed from Taquito fail because it's going into a grass type. And at this point, I realize that I can't rely on Sucker Punch because Anna is perfectly willing and able to just stall out my Sucker Punch PP. So I've just got to have faith that Optimus is faster than this bunny and attack it outright. I'm torn between Metal Claw and Feint Attack. Metal Claw would be better, obviously, if the Amora switches back in, trying to waste my Sucker Punch PP. We ultimately play it safe and just go Feint Attack and then Pen Missile into Rose the Roselia. And at this point, I feel like we've really reached the end game of this match. Like, it is still a winnable match for Anna, particularly with how much damage that Choice Specs Roselia is dealing. But ultimately, she has to find a way to muscle past my Bisharp, and I'm just not sure she's capable of doing so anymore. Her only Mon that can really, really effectively hit it is Hugo this Diggersby, and like, it doesn't have enough, it's not healthy enough to do so at this point. So this is all but wrapped up at this point. We've just got to kind of execute on the end game here. I love every time it zooms in on Poniard and he just like sticks his little knife hand out like, bitch, I'll cut you. It's great. I love it. Okay, so we do see Hugo the Diggersby go for the double protect, again, trying to waste my Sucker Punch PP. Does not land it. We also see Giga Drain from Rose. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, you have to choose which move you're locked into. I'm guessing going primarily for the recovery there with locking into Giga Drain. Yeah. Or, I mean, honestly, just like spoilers, but its other move is going to be Poison Stab. Maybe just looking for a move that can damage my boy Optimus at all. Actually, no, this thing is not choice locked because it's Sunsport before. I don't know. Maybe there isn't a choice item, or else I guess maybe Anna just chose not to use one this week. We do see the light screen wear off. Once again, that light screen saving Taquito's ass. Light screen does wear off. Princess comes in, takes damage from Stealth Rocks once more, eats its berry. Yeah, I was terrified all week that this was a choice specs Chatot. I have not seen evidence of specs on Anna's team, so maybe I was actually mistaken, or maybe it was on the Chatot all along. I cannot believe the amount of damage this Roselia is doing. This thing is stupidly offensive and is going to be a problem for weeks to come. We get the Metal Claw off, and Princess Theomora goes down handily. Of course, it's a quad effective move. We also see a Grass Whistle come out of Rose the Roselia, which lands and puts Optimus to sleep. That good sleep hacks. We get a Pin Missile off from Taquito. It's only going to hit twice, I believe, this time. Yeah, like does a not insignificant amount of damage, only hits twice. I think it might have KO'd if it had hit all 5 times. It would have been very close, but it would have needed all 5 hits. We're going to stay in on Optimus and just attack on both of these Mon. Obviously, she is capable of downing Taquito at this point, but I'm going to make her do it and give us the free switch in. And there we see the Venoshock. Yeah, again, definitely not a choice-locked Roselia. I can't believe the damage this thing is doing. It's so wild. Taquito goes down, and we're going to go into Johnny the Pincer, which is going to wrap the game up from here. And we're going to double in with Feint Attack and Bug Bite. Johnny's faster. Johnny's faster than anything on the field. Is going to land that Bug Bite, and that's going to be all she wrote for our Chapter 2 PvP matches. 2 big wins this week, which is huge. Celeste was starting to run away on the scoreboard a little bit, and we've reined her in with our victory this week. And we're really excited to keep on rolling into Chapter 3 of Series XY. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I know I have. I love double battles. If you had told me at the start of Generation 8 that I would become a VGC head, I'm not sure I would believe you, but doubles is just a really legitimately fun competitive format. I'm glad I got to experience it with our competitors. I'm glad that everyone's teams are shaping up and showing so much diversity and fun building. And I'm really excited to continue this series with you guys. So we will be back this week as we continue into our Chapter 3 gameplay, and I hope that you are looking forward to that. I also hope that you check out Blastburn Radio Podcast, where you can find all of our live commentary for these matches, as well as our recap of our Chapter 2 gameplay and all the usual BBR stuff. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. As always, I have been Jolly by Nature. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Hey, what's up, everybody? You made it to the end of the video. That is so awesome. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons so you stay up to date on what I and my co-hosts are doing right here on the Blastburn Radio YouTube page. Also, be sure to check out Blastburn Radio Podcast, which is available wherever fine pods are casted, as well as at our website down below at blastburnradio.com. But yeah, we'll be back next time, and I hope to see you there. Take care.